Let's look at this. UK Employment Tribunal says stars. The English are so official. I love it. It's a employment tribunal. I love them. I love them. That's so sexy. Says Star Citizen Studio discriminated against autistic employee. Oh, wow. Okay. Hold on a second. While we recognize that this monetary ruling is barely a bug bite to the risk of Star Citizen developer Cloud Imperium Games, we'll take a win any way we can get one, particularly since the story is about the studio's demand that employees move to a Manchester office to work on the sandbox. Oh, this was like that thing that they did where a lot of people quit, like Pappy and others, because they said there was a mandatory move over to Manchester, and some of the employees were like, why did they do that, do you think? What's up, Wazzy? How you doing? Like, I wondered that. We didn't really talk about that a while ago. You know, the mandatory move to Manchester for what was like, I was wondering why. Like, why was that a mandatory thing? It's interesting. Probably to be with like the team that was involved with particular aspects of work, I would imagine. Like some team members needed to be with the other team members, so they decided that they needed to go to Manchester. And like, yeah, like Jared moved, but some others weren't. And like, that's totally understandable. Why would you want to, really to relocate? So this probably had to do with an autistic employee who couldn't move because obviously it was too difficult to do. A UK employment tribunal has ordered SIG to pay compensation for discriminating against a disabled worker in the amount of $38,000 US or 30,000 pounds. The claimant, senior programmer Paul Atheon, who has been diagnosed with autism, was hired in 2018. Began his tenure working at the Wilmslow UK office, but moved to work from home after the COVID pandemic, which he found to be more accommodating to disorder. SIG issued a return to office to Manchester. Atheon asked to remain, which SIG flatly denied. He was then fired in July 2022 after multiple attempts to have his accommodation met. Okay. Throughout the tribunal's inquiry, SIG attempted to brand itself as a tech startup. Atheon's work performance was suffering as a result of working from home. That's what they tried to argue, that Atheon's work performance was suffering as a result from working from home. You know, who knows? Who knows? Who knows, man? They did that shit. Christy had a remote job for an insurance company, and that's what they told her. And, you know, like, as somebody who's experienced it from this end of the spectrum where, like, Christy was working from home and got let go because they said that her work was suffering, is like, it was complete bullshit. It was a very corpo move. So this just looks like corpo moves, you know, and it looks like this guy's getting paid a year's worth of salary for it. 38,000 is probably his yearly salary, which doesn't amount to anything really. I mean, like, Jesus, with inflation, what is that now, like 14 grand? You know what I mean? It's fucking crazy. Normal performance measures such as performance targets and regular review meetings could have been dealt with online, said the tribunal. We find that the respondent has treated the claimant unfavorably, blah, blah, blah. Atheon expressed vindication in the ruling, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, $38,000. I mean, like, at the end of the day, you had somebody who had autism and they couldn't relocate, and you know, then they got let go for bad performance, and it was like, you know, it's just corpo shit, you know. And $38,000. I mean, like, that, what is that these days? I mean, you know. Tripp says, but imagine you work on a team of 10 people coding and you have to get up and come on the office every day. But John doesn't. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, a lot of these meetings, I mean, like, I see the future of work being totally changed anyway. I see the landscape and the evolution of, like, what we know of as work to change. Like, you know, I think a lot of things will be on Zoom calls, and I think a lot of work will be done remotely. I think everybody's going to be a fucking freelancer. I think what we're going towards with AI is, shit, there's going to be a big vacuum. AI is going to take a lot of jobs. A lot of people are going to be displaced. Humans going to be humans and think anew and invent new ways to bring in income. And a lot of it's going to be freelance work. And we're all going to have to figure out how to sell ourselves. And we're all going to figure out how to make those revenue streams. Hell, I'm doing it right now. I got like 3 different revenue streams come in, you know? like it's the workplace out there in traditional sense of workplace is devolving for people that want the office life from the 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. kind of gig. Those gigs are slowly just like washing away. And Social Security is not going to be around in the next 10 years. I think by 2032, 2034, there will be a negative deficit on Social Security. Like there won't be any more money. And so I don't even know how the government's going to do that in America. Social Security is like, good luck. I'm never going to see my Social Security payments. By the time I hit retirement, I'm not going to get it. I've been paying into it my entire life. I'm not going to see it. You know, it's the biggest Ponzi scheme in the world, Social Security, man. Trip says, how many other people are going to come up with a situation to sue SIG or another company? I don't know. I honestly don't think it's that big of a deal, Trip. Like really, 38K is like nothing. And you got a dude who's got autism and he can't relocate, you know? So it's a hard one for SIG to field. You know what I mean? Like how SIG's it's a lose-lose for SIG. They're not going to be able to like look good on this at any angle. So they just made a settlement, paid $38,000, corpo shit. It's done. You know, it's done. Like it's just, you know, what else is going to happen? But yeah, it's just like, I don't know how else you can go. I don't know how else you can move from this, you know? What's the point? Trip's going to tell me the point. 38,000 is such like a little, yeah, like $38,000. I mean, you don't know the dude's situation, you know. You don't know the guy's situation, you know. I mean, we don't know the situation here. You know, that's the thing. Like, this is from the outside looking in. We don't know the specifics of the situation. We don't know exactly what Paul's situation is. We don't. Unless we were actually living with Paul, we have no idea. He worked in the office. Then after COVID, made everyone work from home. Did he make everyone work from home? I don't think Paul made everybody work from home. I think just like that's what happened. I mean, that was like what happened all around the world. It kind of set the precedent of how work's going to go in the future, I think. He didn't want to go back into the office. Oh, okay. Were there medical complications to why he couldn't go back in the office? I don't know. You know, that's the thing. Like, this is very general. Like, I would have to actually interview Paul. Paul, if you're watching, come on, we'll talk to you, dude. You know what I mean? Like, that's the only way I can see that we can get down to the bottom of this, you know. It's not that big of a deal to me, you know. Yeah. Starlet says it's about how it was managed. I would agree with that. Yeah. Autism is at birth. I mean, couldn't okay. It's not empty. There's still stuff in here. Fingers way down there. See, just so you know. And it's very cold. And I need some hot coffee. It's very cold right now. See, if Nikki was on the situation, there wouldn't be any situation at all. We wouldn't even have any news because Nikki would have taken care of this situation, made Paul feel really good, and resolved it. You know. He had autism when he applied for the company. Yeah. So he knew he was autistic when he started the company? Do you think, okay, Trip's asking me a question. Do you think he would have been hired had he told them, I need to work from home at, I don't know what that last word is, buddy. Think he would have been hired. Right, Sig knew he was autistic. At hiring. Do you think he would have been hired had he told them, I need to work from home at hiring? I don't know. I mean, like, you could ask that question about anybody before COVID, right? Nobody knew that was going to happen. I think that changed the way in which work's going to be in the future. I think AI will have a role to play in that as well. Maybe his remote work quality was exceptional and everyone was super happy, and some HR comes in and says, do this and do that. Yeah, that could be it, Starlet, right? If you made the demands, I need to work from home, when he got hired, do you think they would have hired him? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. You know, yes, no. But I mean, like, it depends. I guess it just depends upon the situation and how badly they need the work done that Paul's doing, you know? Coop says it's perfectly plausible that the work from home thing that became much more common with COVID was a lot easier on people with autism and others. She's absolutely, I know a lot of people that were happy to work from home, you know? Shit, a lot of people don't even like to go in the office and deal with a bunch of the people in the office place. I mean, like, I would guarantee you over 50% of the people here this morning can't stand working in a traditional office setting with people. Then they have to like fake smile around people all day. And I would argue that most people working from home are probably more productive, but I don't know the numbers on that. You know, like, I don't know. I do know that I think that the work, like what we know as work, will evolve into remote work for everyone. Everybody's going to be a freelancer. I think everybody's going to be a freelancer. I think that's just the way it's going. I think COVID was the spark, and I think it'll just keep continuing this way. And I think AI will be fuel on the fire. And I think most people will have to become freelancers and figure out how to make money on their own. I really do. I really do. Yeah, I need more details. I would need to talk to Paul directly. And, you know, frankly, $38,000, if Paul feels wronged and didn't want to have to go in and go along with the move, you know, I don't know. My point is, if he said that at the beginning, he should have been accommodated. But if he didn't make the demand at hiring, then it should be up to SIG to grant it or not. Yeah, I mean, like, Trip, I get what you're saying, bro. But, like, you know, this is all very, like, there's not enough detail in here for me to, like, really... You know, I don't know Paul. I don't know his personal situation, and I don't know how Cloud Imperium handled the situation. Most likely, Cloud Imperium handled the situation not so good because most corporate entities don't. And, you know, so I'm sure there's screw ups on both sides of the coin. I'm sure it's never a polar opposite issue. Like, it's never like a one extreme or the other. It's usually like the truth is somewhere in the middle. Like, the truth is usually somewhere in the middle where both parties are to blame. And then you go through the details and you sift through it and you say, okay, and you know what Cloud Imperium did? Here's your 38,000. Go ahead, move on. That's how they dealt with it. They probably talked with HR and said, hey, you guys need to fucking do a better job and figure out your ass from your heads. you know what I mean? Like, this is the way of the world, man. Trip says, my entire point is it's going to get a lot worse for SIG because of the ruling, politics, and generally for lots of business owners. Do you really think that, though, Trip? I mean, it could, but, like, do you really think that's going to set a precedent? I don't think so. I don't think that this will set a precedent for more of this, you know? I think they'll be much careful in the future, and I think they're going to be more kind of hands-on. And this is a moment in time where, like, everybody's shifting, like the sand is shifting below the feet of the traditional workspace. So this is that transitional time where, like, the idea of what a job should be is changing, you know? So it's going to be like this for a while. I think it's going to be kind of shaky ground and on both sides of it. And I think people just need to delve into the details a little bit more, not just take, you know, something from massively overpowered like too seriously, because obviously they're not kind of doing the investigative work that needs to be done here. Like, there needs to be more professional journalism in this. You know, this is just like a clickbait kind of thing, you know, like, how about having an interview with Paul, getting him on, talking to him, and how about getting a representative from Cloud Imperium if people really want to know, and it's that big of a deal. But I don't think this will set a precedent. Trip says, let's revisit this in 18 months. Okay, cool. Let's do that. I'll make a mental note and we'll do that. Good morning, Java B. How are you doing? It is good seeing you here, Java B. I love when the girls are in here. We got Starlet and Java B and Nikki. They're all chilling with us. All right, let's get to the next story. I'm glad we went over that. Though. Let's get into the next. We're gonna check this game out real